Greetings, dear cultured and knowledgeable audience. Welcome to this corner of pure sarcasm where we don't buy the story that the people are wise, but rather that they're just being fooled and manipulated. Today we're going to break down how our brand new Presachachis and her squad of cheerleaders with public positions try to hide the obvious, or better yet, try to cover up a bomb with cheap speeches. You already know that here we focus on breaking down reality before the government sells it to us breaded and with a fake taste of sovereignty. The United States keeps ramping up the pressure and they're not being subtle about it anymore. The words from their officials are direct and unfiltered, but Claudia says that it's just exaggerations from the media and pundits. It seems like the fourth transformation forgot that in politics, just like in physics, you reap what you sow, and whatever you sweep under the rug will eventually start to smell rotten. Today we're not going to talk about alternative facts, we're going to talk about the harsh reality where the Sinaloa case is no longer just an open secret in the bars of Culiacan, but a federal file in Washington. Prepare for a journey into political cynicism. Let's begin. It turns out, my dear citizens of the welfare state, that in this country, sovereignty has become that magic word our leaders use every time Uncle Sam pulls their leash. It's like that cardboard shield you used as a kid to play sword fights, except here the swords are real, and they're carried by guys who aren't exactly coming to bring us flowers. Let's start with what really keeps people up at night in the National Palace. And no, it's not the shortage of medicines, but the fact that in Washington they're no longer beating around the bush. While here they tell us fairy tales about fake sovereignty, over there in the United States Senate, people like Terry Cole, the head of the DEA, have unleashed a barrage of truths that would make even the most seasoned public servant pale. The DEA says that what's happening with Ruben Rocha Moya is just an appetizer. Yes, that governor who just happens to be missing is just the start of a guest list for American justice, and it's coming for more. Remember, the list isn't limited to Sinaloa. This is just a testing ground for what's coming in Tamaulipas, Baja California, and half the country. Claudia's response was to go to Palenque to get instructions from you-know-who while trying to manage the timing so the scandal doesn't blow up during the World Cup. This is Terry Cole with the news.
There's no doubt that the narco-traffickers and high-ranking government officials in Mexico have been in bed for years. But all of a sudden, we're paying attention to it. They are just as much responsible for the death and destruction of record numbers of Americans. By cooperating, by conspiring, by helping produce this poison to come across the border and enter our country.
But of course, for Claudia Sheinbaum, this is nothing more than a fiction as big as the universe. Because of course, she prefers to believe her own data, the ones that conveniently omit that CIA agents might be doing the cleanup work that isn't being done here. Just listen to the nonsense that comes out of that head, which is only good for wearing a ponytail.
We're fine. Relationship with the United States government has its tensions, but it's fine.
Thank you. This bilateral tension at the moment requires a bilateral meeting rather than a phone call.
President, but there is no bilateral tension. I don't see it that way. There is no bilateral tension. There is a request to which we responded. There is no bilateral tension. What happens is that, of course, if you read the newspapers and listen to the commentators, well, they say we're in a tremendous crisis. Well, our opponents, who are very few now, but they make a lot of noise in the media and on social media, they are betting on poor Mexico-United States relations.
It's good that there's no bilateral tension with the United States. Just imagine if there were. Anyway, that's why the lady trots out polocracy as the answer to everything. What does our inept president do in these cases of bombs, drones, and accusations of a narco-government? Well, what she knows how to do best, and what she learned well from her boss, pull out the poll charts. It doesn't matter that the head of the DEA, Terry Cole, says that Mexican officials and the narcos are in bed together. She has a 72% approval rating. That's right, damn it. It seems that in this maroon religion, if the poll says you're popular, you automatically become immune to reality, to the CIA, and to the laws of physics.
Put up the poll from Las Heras that came out yesterday, just so the opposition can see it. And this poll was done, according to what's in the methodological notes, the weekend when the requests for detention pending extradition were made public. When you talk about sovereignty, the people respond. I can show you another one that I got this morning, that's all. I'm going to show it to you. They're going to criticize me, but I'm going to show it to you. But just put up the one about the parties, that's all. Why? I'll just leave it at that. It's a telephone survey in Sinaloa. Take it down now, because if not, it's going to bother a few people. If we listen to all the commentators, we'll be fooled, but people are focused on something else.
What the lady hasn't understood is that Uncle Sam changed the menu from drug lords to politicians. For decades, Mexico handed over drug lords to comply, but now the list is made up of the narco-political class. The Americans are tired of criminals with animal nicknames. Now they want those who wear ties and work out of their party's government offices. The governor on leave, Rocha Moya, seems to be making his own reality show. He's been keeping out of public view for more than 10 days. The magazine Proceso says that the man is being sheltered at the government palace in Culiacan. And here's the best part. While the Mexican government swears it's protecting him, the United States government is watching him with helicopters and drones. In other words, the man has first-world 24/7 aerial surveillance service without even having to hire it. That's bilateral efficiency. But the welfare maid says the relationship is good. If this is things going well, I can't imagine when it's bad. They'll probably send SWAT to collect the property tax from us. Let's talk about the explosion near Lifa, that airport that has more flies than planes flying in and out. It turns out that a truck exploded on March 28, taking Francisco Beltrán de la Peña, also known as El Palín, an operator for the Sinaloa cartel, to the world of those who no longer breathe. According to reports, undercover agents from the elite ground branch unit have been carrying out selective cleanup operations on home soil. The official version, absolute silence. Taking advantage of the fact that the country was distracted by a soccer match against Portugal. But surprise, CNN and the New York Times show up to tell us it was a targeted execution facilitated by the CIA. In response to this, the bargain bin Batman, Omar Garcia Harfouch, came out faster than Lightning McQueen on steroids to say that they categorically reject any covert lethal operation. It's pathetic to see Harfouch quoting the CIA spokesperson when she says it's false to defend his point. Does anyone with half a brain really think they're going to come out and say, yes, we placed the explosive near a Mexican military zone? Please, it's a spy agency. Come on. And while in Sinaloa, hugs are still the official policy toward the Chapitos, in Chihuahua, Morena's machine has already bared its teeth. Ariadna Montiel, the leader who seems to have selective amnesia when asked about Rocha Moya, has already announced they're going after Governor Maru Campos, Maru's sin, as we already know, supposedly allowing CIA agents to help dismantle a drug lab. Morena calls this trampling on national sovereignty. It's fascinating. If the CIA helps dismantle a poison lab, it's considered an attack on the homeland. But if a Morena governor is accused of being in bed with the narcos, then we need proof. Just look at how bold they are. Montiel's hypocrisy reached Olympic levels when, escorted by her cronies Andrea Chavez and Cruz Perez Cuellar, who hate each other but put up with it for the photo, she couldn't answer what will happen with Rocha Moya. For them, a destroyed lab is a constitutional crisis, but a state co-governed by crime is just another Tuesday. Camera presented an operation turned into a surgical operation that became a surgical operation from the United States towards Mexico. It's no longer just a pat on the back, it's the scalpel looking for the tumor of insecurity, and while it's at it, the trade side. Because, let's not kid ourselves, the USMCA is at stake if we don't dance to the tune they play for us when it comes to security. The funniest part, if you can call a tragedy that, is the comparison with Venezuela. It turns out that the accusations against Maduro and those against Rocha Moya are amazingly similar. It seems that the aspiring little dictator's handbook has the same chapters. Meanwhile, in Mexico City, the official narrative is that everything is fine and national sovereignty is untouchable. Of course, it's very easy to talk about sovereignty when you have the police and National Guard watching your back. But what do we say to the average citizen in Culiacan who lives under a de facto curfew? Their sovereignty is defined by how quickly you can enter your home after hearing the first gunfire. To top off this tragic comedy, let's go down to Guerrero. There, where the narcos use drones to bomb indigenous people as if it were a war video game, The government of the transformation decided to apply the diplomacy of surrender. Cesar Yanez, Undersecretary of the Nation, sat down to talk with the leaders of Los Ardillos and Los Tlacos to politely ask them not to be mean and to lift the blockades. Is that defending sovereignty, Claudia? Sitting down to have coffee with those who displace families and murder human rights defenders? While people in Chilapa are begging Donald Trump for helicopters due to local indifference, here they tell us that everything was resolved through dialogue. A dialogue where the government provides the mattresses and the cartel provides the... Have they already heard the pleas of these people in the National Palace? If not, here they are.
Right now, all the indigenous communities are taking refuge here. The president isn't paying attention to us. We want support.
The children are suffering. We haven't eaten.
Help us by sharing this video. We want it to reach the United States, please. Claudia Scheinbaum doesn't listen to us. Donald Trump, help us. Send helicopters to save us.
We're already surrounded because of Los Ardillos.
The criminals are attacking us. They're getting closer, burning the houses. We're on our knees. We're asking for help, for them to come, for people from the United States to come. They're not listening to us. Please.
I wonder if these ladies will also be accused of treason for begging the Trump administration to help them because the Mexican authorities aren't doing anything. I'd like to see that. We can't forget the shadow cast from Palenque, that red phone that this intellectually deficient lady keeps denying, the one that connects directly to her boss. Stop treating us like idiots, Claudia. Who's really advising you? Are you making sovereign decisions or just following the script they left you on their last damn visit? We're tired. Tired of you wrapping yourselves in the flag of feminism, indigenism, poverty, and sovereignty just to avoid being held accountable. The reality is that the enemy is at home, and while you play political chess, we're the pawns left without a board. It's ironic, isn't it? A government that expanded the list of crimes to throw anyone in jail without trial now cries out for the presumption of innocence and due process for its friends. What a legal metamorphosis. But of course, when it comes to protecting the unity of the movement, principles are as flexible as chewing gum in the Sinaloa sun. The reality is that Claudia is at a dead end. Either she hands over the Sinaloa 10 or she goes down with them facing a Donald Trump who isn't after kingpins, he's after narco-politicians. Anyway, my well-informed audience, that's how things are in this Mexico where the CIA plants the bombs, the government makes the excuses, and the people keep hoping that the cursed inheritance isn't the only thing these welfare mafiosos leave us. In short, we're seeing how the veneer of moral superiority of the fourth transformation is starting to peel off. The outlook is darker than a politician's conscience during a campaign. But don't worry, that's what the old reliable excuse is for, saying it's all a conservative plot and that national sovereignty depends on Rocha Moya keeping his paycheck. That's the reality in this surreal country, where sovereignty is defended with speeches but handed over to organized crime without a word. Keep feeding your skepticism because in this 6-year term it's the only thing that isn't taxed. Let's not let our guard down. Remember that the direction of this country is in our hands, not in those damn parasites called politicians. Things should be done the way we say, not the way they say. We must be the protagonists of change. I won't get tired of saying it. We're at war, Mexico against Morena. Stay calm, knowing that if you see a drone over your house, it's probably not Amazon delivering your package, but the CIA checking to make sure you don't have a meth lab in your backyard. And if you do have one, don't worry. Just make sure you're honorable members of Morena so that sovereignty, that lovely thing they talk about in the Mañaneras, will protect you from all harm. See you when reality gives us another slap in the face. I'll read your comments. See you on Friday. Remember that you can make your donations via PayPal in the comment box. Thanks to you, this channel is still active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications every time there's new content. Thank you.